How to reference using APA. Let's start by asking, what is APA? There are many different referencing styles that you can use, but we will be focusing on the APA style in this video. APA is a style of referencing that was developed by the American Psychological Association. It provides a specific format for adding references and in-text citations to reports. So why should we reference? Let's say that you're writing a report for school and you find some useful information on a website or from a book. Simply copying and pasting this information and pretending that it's your own is known as plagiarism. Plagiarism is a serious academic offense and should be avoided at all costs. Simply adding a reference to your work will allow you to give credit to the original authors of the information, allowing you to avoid plagiarism. A reference must be added even if you are paraphrasing and rewriting the information in your own words. It must also be added if you're quoting directly from the book or website. So how can we reference? In order to properly reference the information that we use in our reports, we need to add full references as well as in-text citations. Let's first look at references. A reference acts like an address that tells the person who's reading your report exactly where the original information can be found. If you're referencing a book, the reference should include the author's last name and initials, the date that the book was published, the title of the book, and note that this is written in italics, and then finally the publisher's information. If you're referencing a page from a website, the reference should include the author's last name and initials, the date that the specific web page was published, the title of the web page, note that this is written in italics as well, and then the title of the website, followed by the link. If you're referencing a journal article, the reference should include the author's last name and initials, the date that the article was published, the title of the specific article, and then the name of the journal, which is also written in italics. This is followed by the volume number and the issue number, which is written in parentheses. Next, we have the page numbers. Lastly, if the article is online and contains a DOI, this should also be included. The DOI stands for Direct Object Identifier and is a type of permanent link that is assigned to journal articles. Pay special attention to how commas, full stops, capitalization, and other punctuation is used in these references. When creating your own references, they should follow this exact format in accordance with the APA style. All references should be added to a separate page at the back of your report. The page heading should say References, and this heading should be placed at the top center of the page. The second line of each reference should be moved slightly away from the margin. This is called a hanging indent. Each reference should be arranged in alphabetical order. This means that references that start with a B come before those that start with an S. Now that we understand references, we can shift our attention to in-text citations. The in-text citations are short and only contain the author's last name and the date of publication. In some cases, a page number is also included. If you've only used a single page, write P followed by the number. If you've used a range of pages, write PP followed by the numbers. Although it is recommended to add page numbers when you can, it's only required if you are directly quoting from the source. If there are two authors, an ampersand is used to separate them. If there are 3 or more authors, use only the first author, followed by et al. If there is no date, ND can be used instead. And if you're using 2 different sources of information together, they should be placed in parentheses and separated by a semicolon. Unlike references, which are placed at the end of the report, in-text citations are added in the main part of the report. When you find information in a book or website that you'd like to add to your report, you could either paraphrase this information by rewriting it in your own words, or you could directly quote from the book or website. Then, at the end of the sentence or paragraph that you've written, you should insert the in-text citation. This shows the person reading your report exactly where to find the information. In the example, you can see the in-text citations are highlighted in blue. There are a few different ways that in-text citations can be added to your report. The first way is to add it at the end of the sentence in parentheses, as can be seen here. Note that the full stop comes right at the end. Another way to add the in-text citation is to include the author's name as part of the sentence, with only the date of publication in parentheses, as can be seen here. Both the date and author's names can also be included in the sentence. In this case, there is no need for parentheses, as can be seen here. If there are two authors and both the name and date are written in parentheses, then the ampersand symbol should be used to separate the names. If the names are used as part of the sentence, then the word "and" should be written out in full. It is important to double-check that every in-text citation that you've added in your report has a matching reference in the reference list, and that every reference in the reference list has a matching in-text citation in your report. Now, if you've ever been asked to include a bibliography in your work, you might be wondering how this is different to a reference list. A reference list will only include references that are cited and used in your report. A bibliography, however, will also include all sources that you have read. You may only have read these for background knowledge and not actually cited them in your report. In APA, we use a reference list, and we do not typically use bibliographies. However, a bibliography can be added if your teacher has asked you to provide one. Adding references and in-text citations to your work can take a bit of time, so be sure to plan properly and manage your time accordingly. It may seem difficult at first, but you'll quickly get the hang of it with a little practice. For more information about the specific rules of the APA style and how to reference different types of sources, be sure to download the APA guide from the link.